A very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Richard. I want to welcome you to our second class in here of the cruise, which is called What's the Cloud? Now, I want to address something before we get started. I am talking about the cloud. We will get specific and talk about different clouds, different companies' clouds, iCloud, Google Cloud, Chrome Cloud, different things like that. But today's class is about the cloud. So it doesn't matter if you have an iPhone or an Android or a Windows phone or a Windows computer or a Mac. We're talking about the cloud. Now, here's the question I always like to get started in the cloud class with this very simple question. What's the cloud? What? Any thoughts? What's the cloud?
It's a server somewhere that you can hook up.
It's a server somewhere that you can hook up to. It's like Tinder? I'm confused. Tinder, Ashley Madison, I'm really confused. So here's the thing. Oh yeah, if you know what that means, we're not going to ask why you know what that means. But what the cloud is you remember when you used to buy computers back in the day, and you would care how many gigahertz and how many megahertz and how much RAM and how much this and how much that, and all of those things were inside of that computer. Now I have a question for you. The main computer we probably buy nowadays is an iPhone, an iPad, a tablet, an Android phone, something like that. Can anybody in this room tell me the speed of the processor on their mobile device?
Fast enough.
Fast enough. You know it? What?
1.2.
What device you got?
This one is simply a cheap Android Alcatel.
A cheap Android. Wow, he actually knows. Good job. Good job. Hold on. I have a present for you. Are you allergic to nuts?
Not especially. It depends on the variety. The human ones, maybe.
He got his question right, so he gets a Reese's ball, a Reese's peanut butter cups that I got to show something. I might eat that a little bit later. No, just kidding. I have a second one. I'm not expecting 2 questions to be gotten right. He actually knew what was in his phone. But the thing is, what's important is nowadays the actual technology in the phone is becoming less and less relevant. I think what's amusing is even his little Alcatel phone has 50,000 times more power than what they drove the space shuttle to the moon with, to give you an idea. But computing power has now gone up into the cloud. So what I want to do is, I want to ask you, do any of you know who the #1 company in the world in cloud is?
Intel.
#1, no, it's not IBM, it's not Watson. Amazon. Who said Amazon? So about 3 months ago, someone put an extra comma in Amazon's cloud code, and guess what happened? The whole internet went down. Amazon makes very little money selling you things, and all of the money that Amazon makes is within something called Amazon Web Services, which is Amazon's cloud. All major websites all over the world run on Amazon's Web Services. Now the thing is, your device, it is powerful, and it's as powerful as it needs to be. But when it needs to do more powerful things, it takes those powerful things and chops them up to the cloud. So I want to give you a very simple example. I'm going to show you a thing called Akinator. I have to remember how to spell it. A-K-I-N-A-T-O-R. His name is Akinator. Now I want to let you know what he's about to do in a few seconds. What he's going to do is he has a database. I'm saying he's a cloud. He's a genie. He lives in a cloud of smoke, so it's close enough. It's a database of 10 million famous people. And it ranges from fictional characters to non-fictional characters. We found the genie from Aladdin. We found the Geico Gecko. We found all of these different things. What you're about to see be done is not being done on my phone. It's being done entirely in the cloud. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick someone who's going to help me out, someone who I haven't prearranged. Now, there we go. You're going to help me out here. Now, here's what I need you to do. This is a hard task. I need you to pick a famous person, live or dead, real or fake, that everyone in this room would know, that you can answer some basic questions about, like if you know if they were married, if they had children, different things like that. Do you have someone in your mind? You got some basic knowledge on that person? Okay. And everyone in this room would know that person. Most of the Americans and I want to stick to someone that everyone would know, if that makes sense. Someone that I would know as well. So I'll give you an example. Madonna, Marilyn Monroe, don't choose them. The one that's been chosen for the last 4 months has been the Cheeto. It's a large orange man. Those of you who got the joke? Okay. So, it's a rolling joke. Is your character a female?
Yes.
Yes. So what we've just done is we've just eliminated half of those 10 million characters, and now we're down to 5. Now, none of this is being done on my phone. It's all being done in the cloud. Did your character die? Are they dead?
They're
Yes. And you'll see there's a little bar, there's a little progress bar going on the bottom. Now what this is doing is every question, it's not using my phone, it's talking up to the cloud is figuring out, hey, it's not that person, it's not that person. Is your character left-handed? Do you know or you don't know the answer? They're not left-handed, okay.
I don't know.
Don't know, that's fine. It's a really weird question. Is your character an actor?
No.
Uh-oh. He's making this hard. Is your character a citizen of the U.S.?
No.
Is your character from Japanese anime? No. Does your character have a son?
Yes.
Yes. Ah. Has your character really existed? Is it a real person?
Yes.
Let's see if we get it right. Does your character have black hair?
No.
No. Is your character killed in a car accident?
No.
Is your character in the Bible?
No.
I think we know who was thinking it was. Is your character a queen?
No.
No. Is your character British?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Is your character a politician?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh.
Did your character die an unfair death?
No.
And it thinks that your character, let's see if it's right. Who was it? Yeah, I'm not. Let's see who it thinks it is. Come on. It's going to show me a couple seconds before it shows you. It got it. Margaret Thatcher. Yeah, he gives it a thumbs up. Now, here's the cool thing. None of what you just saw was actually done on my device. It was all done in the cloud. So every single question, yes, my character is Margaret Thatcher, named every single question I answered, it went to a database in the cloud and figured it out. Now, my device is not powerful enough to answer those questions and eliminate down from 10 million possible people. Just to tell you, I know there's an otter that sells auto insurance in the UK. Am I correct? There's like a little otter. Someone guessed that once, the little otter that sells auto insurance. So really, really crazy things. And when I got this app the first time, I played with it for about 6 hours and tried to trick it, and I never, ever, ever could. It's called Ankh-Natar the Genie, but that's just one example of the cloud. But I've been looking for a concrete example of the cloud for many, many years, and I think I finally found one. And people always ask me when I'm walking to this class, is that some Oreos in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me? The answer is, that's some Oreos in my pocket. But here's what's cool. I've got some Oreos. I don't eat Oreos anymore, so I have a whole bunch of crushed Oreos. But on these Oreos, we have something that we have on almost every product in the world right now, which is a barcode. It's a little bit crushed. But here's a question for you. What does that barcode tell you about the Oreos? Absolutely nothing. All that barcode tells you about the Oreos is 0440000470009. What good is that? Here's the thing when you need to understand. This is a piece of information that is then fed into the cloud. If you buy these Oreos in a Walmart, Walmart has one price for the Oreos. If you buy these Oreos in a Tesco, Tesco has another price for the Oreos. But do you think they make different barcodes for every single one? No. They all have very similar barcodes. Even if you buy these in a Costco, the outside of the box will have a different barcode on it than the individual units. So what makes sense of barcodes is actually the cloud. Now, stores can go ahead and when you run this through the register, it goes bing, and then it figures out how much it costs. It also lets the store know that it sold a unit, so it can put it on its revenue. It lets the warehouse know to send a replacement unit. Does that make sense there? This little piece of information is giving the cloud all the power it needs. Now, I use this little piece of information to actually lose some weight. Great application called Lose It. I don't do it anymore, but I used to very religiously scan in all of my food into Lose It. And I would go ahead, I would say lunch, scan my food item. That is that, there we go. And it would actually figure out from the same piece of information that the company uses to figure out how much it costs or where it's going, I can actually figure out the caloric value. So 6 Oreos are 320 calories. Ugh. And after the Oreos, I gotta have some Reese's, so I can scan in my Reese's too. Oh God. That's why I gave away one. 220 calories. And I can put that in. Now, you see, it's actually recommending things like common lunch choices. I'd like to point this out. It says broccoli, carrots, salad greens, tomatoes, Now, I myself am not familiar with those lunch choices, but I believe those are common lunch choices. But here's where this gets cool. Not only can it scan barcodes, but imagine for a second if you could take a picture of something and then it would figure out what that was based on the picture. So this is very dangerous to go back in my photo library, but I'm going to find some food I had the other day. Ooh, where's a donut? Oh, donut. I don't know if it's going to be able to figure out what a Ferrero Rocher donut is. But if I hit done, what it does is it adds in my donut and tries to calculate the caloric qualities of my donut using the cloud. So using the cloud, it tries to calculate whatever it can. Here's the important thing that I want you to understand before we go deeper in the cloud. The cloud, the whole idea of the cloud is it makes your device more powerful than the device could be on its own. And I think one of the things that we really need to understand is the cloud differs in quality. There are only a couple big cloud companies in the world. You've got Amazon, you've got Google, you've got Apple, you've got Netflix. It's about the end of the list, to be honest with you. Those are the big cloud companies in the world. Now you have other companies that run clouds of sorts, AOL, Yahoo, Hotmail, things like that. Those clouds are not nearly as robust as Apple's, Google's, Amazon's, all those other ones like that. So I want you to be very knowledgeable that all clouds are not created equal. All clouds are not created equal. Now, I'm going to give you an example of something that you would use the cloud for every day. Now, my mom uses this, you might use the cloud for. My mom uses this all the time, and she gets really frustrated with it. She calls it the Siri. And some of you have used the Siri before, but you've never actually appreciated what the Siri actually does. So I'm going to do something on the Siri. Now, can anybody help me pronounce the name of the port we're going to tomorrow? Because I can't do it. Akureyri? That's how you actually say it. Okay. Okay. Let me get this going. What's the weather tomorrow in Akureyri, Iceland? It's going to say, it's going to rain. Let's give that. What's the weather on Sunday in Reykjavik, Iceland? But what's cool, let me see if Siri wants to pay. What's the weather in Sunday in Reykjavik, Iceland? She's going up. She's being angry with me. Siri, behave. What's the time in Miami? Let me ask my favorite one. That one's too easy. Come on, Siri. What's the weather today in Reykjavik, Iceland? Siri, don't shame me. Okay, actually when Siri acts up, we use Siri's other cousin, which is called Google Assistant. Before I put her on the screen. Yeah, let's see. There we go. What's the weather in Reykjavik on Saturday? Oh, yeah. Siri wants to act up, so we'll use Siri's cousin, which is working perfectly fine. Which its name is Google Assistant, which is Google's version of Siri. And it's coming to the iPhone reasonably soon. It's coming to the iPhones. Google's announced it's coming to the iPhone reasonably soon. So here we go. What's the weather in Reykjavik on Saturday? It's actually got roads may be slippery. 52 degrees Fahrenheit. What's the name of the place we're going tomorrow? What's the weather in Akureyri tomorrow? Yeah, Akron, Ohio. I can't say it. I can't do it correctly. But here's the important thing. When I ask a question like that, if Siri wants to behave, Google Assistant wants to behave, who knows? That's why you bring two. When I ask that question, here's the question. Does my phone understand what I'm saying? This is very, very important. My phone does not understand what I'm saying. What's happening is my phone is recording my voice, then sending it all the way up to the cloud and coming back. And just pick something completely random. I wouldn't have asked someone give me where their hometown is.
Watford.
Watford, where's that? I know London, and I know London. I'm sorry. What's the weather in Watford, England today? Yeah, when I grow up, I want to be a UK weatherman. Because if I'm wrong, people are happy. I just go, well, today it's going to rain, and if I'm wrong, people are happy. But what's cool is I can actually figure out the weather. I don't know why Siri didn't want to play with me. Let's see if Siri wants to come back. But what it's doing is my phone is going a long, long way, all the way around the planet, and figuring out what is going on when I go about doing that. So let's give Siri one more chance to see if she wants to serialize. Serialize? Serious? I used to have a class called Getting Serious. Bad name. What's the weather in Reykjavik on Sunday? Yeah, I know. Siri, oh, there we go.
You'll need an umbrella for Reykjavik, Iceland on Sunday.
Aww. But it's actually gone ahead and it's used. What? Oh, that's the wrong Reykjavik?
No. She's naming you.
Oh, yes, I'm the fat tub of lard, yeah. Really cool Siri trick. If you pick up an iPhone and you're like, whose iPhone is this? You can actually say, hey Siri, whose iPhone is this? And it'll tell you whose iPhone it is. And it'll say, hey, this is Fat Tub of Lard's iPhone. But don't worry, I'm happy she's not telling you that that's Fat Tub of Lard's iPhone right now because, But the cool thing is the cloud is what's interpreting what's going on while you're doing these things. Now, I want to tell you something. Regardless of it being an iPhone or an Android, every single day I have someone come to me, whether they're a guest or a crew member, put their device in my hand, happens with iPhones, happens with Androids, and they go, it doesn't work. And I go, in what way? We're talking internet, we're talking, they're like, it won't turn on. Okay? So I take the device in my hand. Okay, yeah, device, stuff like that. And then I ask the question that none of us want to ask. Did you get it wet? This is what always happens. And they go, yes. And I go, what type of water was it? Was it seawater? Was it hot tub water? Was it sink water? And you know what it always is after I've been handling the device forever? Toilet water. I take the phone, put it down. The nice thing is the larger iPhones, it's a lot harder to fall through your legs to get in the toilet. So, the larger the iPhone, the easier it is to not fall through your legs to get to the toilet, but it's generally toilet water. And over the years, I came up with a response. They go, it's toilet water. I go, ma'am, before I can help you further, I need you to taste it and let me know exactly what type of water is in your toilet. One time someone did taste it, they said it's a little salty. So, just so you know, we don't desalinate the toilet water on board. I'm not telling you that from my personal experience, but on your devices, what the cloud is generally meant for is for backing things up. Here's the problem, though. If you use an iPhone or you use an iPad, you only get a very limited amount of storage to back your things up. So before we go into backup or anything like that, I want you to understand the concept of what the cloud is actually trying to do. It's trying to do something called a distributed backup. Now, what indeed is a distributed backup? It means if you have some pictures on your phone, they should also be on your tablet, should also be on your computer, should also be on everything like that. Now let's take a quick survey. We're going to look at both of them. How many of you have Apple devices in the room? iPhones, iPads, Androids, things like that? Okay. How many of you have Android devices in the room? Okay. And of those, I guarantee a large portion of us have Windows computers still. Am I correct in that assumption? So, here's the thing with the Apple Cloud. I love the iCloud. One of my major things I have with the Apple Cloud is it generally only works really well with Apple devices. Now, you can make it work. If you have an iPhone, you have an iPad, you have a Mac, you have all those, guess what? We've got that synchronized. But a lot of us throw a wrench into the equation by having a Windows computer, or an Android phone, or some other device of that sort. So on a Windows computer, one way to make your iPhone talk with your Windows computer is there's actually a program you can download for Windows called the iCloud Control Panel for Windows. Put that right into Google. Click on iCloud Control Panel for Windows, and it's going to give you access to all of your iCloud stuff. Now, we're going to talk about iCloud for a minute, but then we're going to switch over and talk about Google services as well. So on the iPhones, you have something called iCloud Drive. The thing is, how many of you in this room are just very happy using your 5 gigs of iCloud storage, and it never tells you run out, and you're never going to need any more? What, really? That's hard to believe. Because here's the thing, all the pictures you take on just this cruise are going to take up about 5 gigs of storage, just to give you that concept there. So it'll take up a lot of storage to use all of those pictures. But when you're looking, you only have 5 gigs of storage available for usage. Here's the thing. This is where we all ran out of storage in our cloud, our Apple clouds. When you open this Photos application, about 2 years ago, it said, do you want to use iCloud Photo Library to back up your photos? And there was a big old ugly button, a big old giant button that said, yes, use iCloud Photo Library. But there was a tiny little blue button up here that said, skip. So what did we all do? We all turned on iCloud Photo Library. And when we turned on iCloud Photo Library, that took up all of our space across all of our devices. What's interesting, and we'll talk about this on iPhone in a few minutes, is Google actually put in something called Google Photos that helps with the cloud on your Android devices, but can also be used on Apple devices. So when you're looking at iCloud settings, you've got all of these different things. When it comes to mail, how many of you in this room use Gmail? How many in this room use anything other than Gmail? Well, those second batch of you that raised your hands, by the end of this year, you're not going to have a choice. Because AOL and Yahoo are going to be shutting down this summer, going into a new company called Oath.com. Do you know how they found out that there's going to be a new company called Oath.com that's coming from AOL and Yahoo? A CEO of Yahoo had his Yahoo account hacked. They had their Yahoo account hacked and it leaked out. So AOL and Yahoo won't be relevant after this summer, and Hotmail, we're going to talk about this later on the cruise, is going to go to a paid-only service. So if you're not paying for Hotmail, really your only answer is Gmail. Yeah?
Richard, why would Verizon buy them to shut all their services?
Because they want to own, they don't want to own AOL Mail, they want to own the content like the Huffington Post and Yahoo Sports and different things like that. So your email address is going to change regardless. The answer is Verizon bought them to own the content they own, TMZ and different things like that. Does that answer your question? They wanted, saved. Okay. But you can synchronize all of these different ones, and like we were talking about, when you go to mail, and you're talking about mail in the cloud, you'll see that all these devices have these set up here. That's not going to exist. That's not going to exist.
What about Outlook?
That's going to go to a paid-only service very soon. Yes, Outlook.com/Hotmail is going to go to a premium service, which is going to be $50 a year if you want to continue to have that. Now, we've got a whole class that's going to be on Gmail later on in the cruise. I'm just giving you a little heads up of where the world is headed when it comes to these different tech. Because AOL and Yahoo used to be search engines. MSN used to be search engines. Guess what we all did? Did we all kill all those companies by using Google? Yeah. You killed it. I didn't do it. I used Bing. But the other cool thing that iCloud will do is it'll back up your contacts, your calendars, your bookmarks, all of these different things. But I want to talk about something very interesting when it comes to the cloud. This is not iCloud or Android. It comes across all of the different devices. Have any of you ever heard of mobile payments before? So my favorite port ever is Southampton. And why I love Southampton is I go out in Southampton and I never even take my wallet with me in Southampton. In Southampton, everywhere I want to do something, I just open up my wallet, being my digital wallet, and I have all of my credit cards stored inside. $86.99 from Best Buy? I don't remember that. And I tap it right on the reader, and it works. Now, this is available on iPhones, iPhone 6 and above, and available on a lot of new Android devices. So if you have a Samsung device, you likely have it as well. It's called mobile payments, and it uses the cloud to do everything it needs to do. Now, I don't actually make the payments with my phone. I'm a little nerdier than that, and make them with my watch. So I just double tap on my watch, I go, boing, and then I pay at the White Rose or anywhere like that. Here's the thing. If you're from the US, you'll notice that you don't have the ability to do that in a lot of different places. And that is because a lot of companies keep clouds on you. So the reason you can't use Apple Pay a lot in the United States is every time you use Apple Pay or Android Pay, your credit card number changes. So you think the stores can track you? Stores can't track you if your credit card number changes. In the UK, I do have to say a nice thing. You have very, very nice privacy protection laws in the UK that actually the stores can't track you even if they wanted to track you. So therefore, you can use the Apple Pay everywhere because they're not fighting it because there's nothing to go ahead and fight against. So I use the Apple Pay everywhere, and all I need to do that is I open up my wallet right here, and I take it, put it right up next to a reader, and it'll recognize the reader as a payment, and I'll go put your finger there, and you're good to go. Now, this is something that works across all the devices. If you have a Samsung device, like the Samsung Galaxy S8, it actually has another type of payment called MST, magnetic stripe technology, that fakes the actual card swipe in the States. I use it to get into my cabin when my cabin key gets demagnetized. Shouldn't advertise that too far, but that actually works. So I've actually programmed in my cabin key there, and I can actually magnetically get into my cabin there. Now that's something that goes across all the devices with the cloud. But here's something I want to talk about in relation to the cloud that is going to become a very, very hot topic, sticky issue soon, which is called keychain, which is called passwords. A lot of people ask me about saving their passwords and doing different things with their passwords. We're going to get to pictures right after this, but they ask me about passwords and doing different things with their passwords. How many of you remember all your passwords? No problem, don't have a book or anything like that to get them written down in. You're good? You have the same password for everything, or you have a formula? You have a formula, right?
Well, different numbers.
Yeah, it's a formula.
It can be 12 digits.
Yeah, cool, you're good. Yeah, I'll tell you. The problem is passwords are out the wazoo. The good news is, very, very soon, the password will be dead. The age of the password is dead. Hip, hip, you're not going to like what replaces it. Hip, hip, you're not going to like what replaces it. Hip, hip, you don't have to say hooray. You're not going to like what replaces it. You've probably already seen what I'm about to show you before once or twice in your life. You just didn't know exactly what it was. It's called two-factor authentication. You know when you sign in on a new device and it says, hey, we don't recognize this device. We want you to go ahead and sign in on a device that we recognize, or send a text message, or do this, or do that. As of right now, for a lot of us, that is optional. In the future, it will not be optional. So I want to show you a little bit about two-factor authentication. In order to do this, I must get two devices on the screen at the same time. So give me about 5 seconds time to, here we go. So I've got two devices and they're on the screen at the same time. Now, on the left is my new device. On the right is my trusted device. These are both iPhones. They could be iPhones, they could be Androids, they could be whatever you wanted them to go ahead and be. But I have this device, which is a new device that I'm signing into for the first time. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to go to my iTunes and App Store, and I'm going to hit sign in. It's got my username right there, and it's asking for my password. Now some of you are going to think what I'm about to do is very dumb. I am going to give you now all my password. It's APPLE, capital PASSWORD 7. What I just did is theater. What I mean by it's theater, the need for a password when you have two-factor authentication on is theater. It's fake. There's no need to have a password when you have two-factor authentication. The reason is a lot of people are going to go, oh, I'm afraid of that, because now it's going to pop up on this phone, and it's going to say, hey, there's a new device trying to sign in to your account. Do you want to allow that? That's the second factor of authentication. And I go ahead and I say, yeah, why not? And then I have to type in this number. Now this number is only going to be good a single time. I type in 537560. And now that device is added to my account. Now, here's the problem. It means that in most points in time, when two-factor authentication becomes really important, you need to have a minimum of two devices with you. And if you lose one of those devices, you still have the second one, so you can replace it. So you need to keep them in essentially two different locations. Two-factor authentication will be mandatory on any major website before the end of this year. Now, if you're saying, my website does not ask for two-factor authentication, I'm sorry, they don't care about you. But here's what's cool. Once you have two-factor authentication, guess what I don't need on either of these phones anymore? I don't need a password anymore. Because these are trusted devices. Now, I do technically need a password because I need my fingerprint to get into the device. I need my fingerprint to get into the device. Now, this is relevant to iPhones, relevant to Androids, relevant to everything. Believe it or not, you're going to say, why is this company rolling this out on their deathbed? The first company to actually roll out two-factor authentication is Yahoo. to roll out, you can go to yahoo.com. You have to, right now, this is what's called opt-in, meaning you have to say you want it. You can go to yahoo.com and you can say, I just want to type in my email address and hit sign in and not need a password. As soon as you hit sign in, it's going to authorize your devices and it's going to say, hey, is this sign in cool? And you say, yep, that sign in's cool. If you have an Apple device or a newer Android device, be it a newer Samsung device or anything like that, they've actually come pre-set up with two-factor authentication on there. But I think the important thing to understand is, for now, you can turn it off. In the very near future, it's going to be like needing a PIN code when you put in a chip card. You need to put in a PIN code when you're putting in a chip card. You're going to go ahead and you're going to want to make sure you have that set up. So remember, that is why in the future, I've told a lot of people that have come through the iLounge, I said, you know, I'm talking to the wrong people right here. I'm looking forward towards the future, and I'm saying, you're not going to be able to use the public computers that are up in the iLounge much longer, because if you use those, guess what it's going to ask you for? A second factor on your device. Now, all of these email providers have this inside of their terms and conditions. You know the thing we all hit, agree? Next page it says, are you sure you agree? And what do we hit again? We hit agree. So that's all in there. So you can't ever say nobody ever told you. But two-factor authentication is coming, and it's not just coming, it is coming in force. But what I want to show you is I want to show you something with the cloud. I did a class on this the other day. I want to give you a little overview because this is something, I got an email from someone last night that was on the cruise about, they were on the ship about 2 months ago, and they said, Richard, you saved my life. I go, what are you talking about? Like, Richard, you saved my life. I have the email on one of these phones. She goes, my computer crashed, as did my hard drive. They both got viruses on them, and I lost 250,000 photos. But guess what she learned to do 2 months before? She learned to use Google Photos. And believe it or not, the computer guy told her it would be about $5,000 to recover all of her photos. But she said, I already got Google Photos, and she was able to do it. So I highly recommend, we're not going to go into a full intensive class on Google Photos right now, but I want to give you a little concept on how Google Photos works. Now on your Android device, if you have an Android device, there's a little application called Photos. It's got a little pinwheel. On your iPhone or iPad, you just need to go to the App Store, and you download an app called Google Photos. And we're going to open it up, and it's going to say, hey, welcome to Google Photos. Now, this is one of the most insane cloud applications you will ever see. And then we're going to sign in with our Gmail account, our Google account, our Gmail account. We sign in right there. And what's cool is this is now going to back up your entire camera roll to the cloud, unlimited, for free. That's what's really cool. So this phone was empty until right now, and I have all of my pictures from the class yesterday in the theater are here. And I can look back all over time, and I can see all of my pictures from across my iPhone, my iPad, my Android, my Windows computer, and my Mac computer, just to give you a really cool concept. So I can actually go in, and I've got the full history of pictures. Like, let's say I want to look for Flamingo. I'm just typing in flamingo, and what it's going to do is it's going to find all the pictures I've personally ever taken of flamingos. Here we go. There's a picture of flamingos. That's in SeaWorld. But I can go in and I've got all of my pictures. There's flamingos as well. Now, I never told it what a flamingo was. It's using the power of the cloud to figure out. One of my favorite places, we're not going there this cruise, but I can say Richard in Lisbon, S-B-O-N, eating ice cream. Huh? So I got Richard in Lisbon eating ice cream, and it will use the cloud to automatically figure out Richard in Lisbon eating. I think we got me. There we go. That's from like a few weeks ago. I don't think that's a big enough ice cream cone. But I go to the same ice cream place because I'm a regular there. And you know how I know how old the picture is? Because of the watch that's on my wrist. I can tell how much my watches have changed over the years. That was long before the Apple Watch was a thing. That's the first generation Apple Watch, and that's the second generation Apple Watch. That's the story.
You're skinnier though.
I'm skinnier now. Yes, I know, I am.
Still the same t-shirt.
Still the same t-shirt? Yeah, you're right. Same t-shirt, less chins. I was a big boy back then. But what's really cool is I want to give you an idea of where the cloud can take us in the future. So Google Photos is very simple. You just go to the App Store, you can set up Google Photos, just follow the prompts right on the screen, and that will back up all of your photos and videos from across your phones and your tablets and everything like that, and all you need for that is a Gmail account. And we're going to talk about some of the other benefits of Gmail account because we have a whole class called Get Going with Gmail a bit later on in the cruise. It's going to be our last class on the last C-Day. But I want to spend the last 10 minutes or so of the cloud talking a bit about the future of the cloud and where that's headed. Now, to do that, I'm going to need to borrow from somebody an artifact. You might say, what are you asking for? I'm looking for this thing. They made them until a few years ago. It's words that are printed on paper. I believe it's called a book. Does anybody have? Oh, look at that.
Oh, it is a book.
I don't want to break that artifact. So this is an artifact. This is a book. Now, when we're talking about books, what do most books have on the back of them? ISBNs and barcodes. Companies really don't like barcodes. Well, companies don't like barcodes. Stores don't like barcodes because those barcodes allow us to comparison shop. If any of you have ever used the Amazon app before, one of the great things about the Amazon app is I can go right into the Amazon app. I can take a picture of that barcode, and I can have that book sent to me. Let me hold still enough to get a picture of the barcode. Come on, picture of the barcode. There we go. It's going to search that barcode, and I can have that book sent to me in 2 days on my door with Amazon Prime. And it just allows it to go through there. I can go in the Amazon app, I can search, and boom. But here's the important thing. With the advent of the cloud, and with the clouds going further and further, the age of the barcode is going away. Very soon you won't find products with barcodes on them anymore. Instead of barcodes, what they're going to have is they're going to have these things called NFC tags. Something you might have heard of before. They're called NFC tags. These NFC tags are very special. What I have with this is these NFC tags are stuck all the way around my cabin, and I have it tied to my alarm clock. When my alarm goes off, I have to get out of bed and hit all 4 NFC tags all over my cabin before the alarm will stop. But what's going to happen is this is going to be buried inside of the book. Now, they've used these for many years as essentially an alarm. You know, when you steal something from the store, they use an alarm, but now they can actually... Sorry. But they can actually sensitize what's going on and what this is. So imagine in the not-so-distant future, if you could take all of your groceries, just put them in a basket, walk through a metal detector, tap your watch, and you're done. And if you're in the UK, you have to tell them how many bags you have. Let's be completely honest, but here's the thing. When that happens... Uh-oh. I don't think he's going to be able to walk in the store anymore. Oh, there we go. I found it. But when that happens, how will that affect us in our ability to actually find out what something is? Now imagine, this is what retailers are going to use the cloud for because they don't need to hire employees to check you out or anything like that. But how would we find out what this book is? Imagine if you could use the cloud to take a picture of anything and then figure out what that was a picture of when you take that picture. That's the idea behind an application called Google Goggles. Now that's the name of it on Android, but on iPhone it's called CamFind. Now this is something I worked on a couple years ago with some guys. I'm actually the cameraman behind the camera here. Google said, show us a way this can be used, and this is the way we decided to do it. With Google Goggles. Yeah.
What we're going to try to do is recreate Mount Rushmore and see if Google Goggles recognizes it. First piece, we're going to make the chair around, right?
And out of these just your head.
Burger, where you're trying to change the right? That is perfect. Break it. Awesome.
That looks good to me.
You guys ready?
Mm-hmm.
Did it work?
Not yet. All right. We're missing something.
And this took about 3 days to do.
Ready? Pearl Browse, residential.
But we actually got it to identify that as Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, it worked.
Mount Rushmore.
And that's what I think is really, really cool, is you can actually take a picture of something and figure out what it is. Now this has gone so far on the new Samsung Galaxy S8, they've actually built in a button for something called Bixby. And what Bixby does is Bixby will analyze when you take a picture. It will say, well, what is that? But you can get it on Android right now with an app called Google Goggles, or there's an app I'm going to use called CamFind, C-A-M-F-I-N-D. And what's cool is I can go in and I've got this button. I've removed the security tag from your book, don't worry about it. But what it's going to do is it's taking this picture, sending it to the cloud. The cloud is then going to analyze that picture and say what that's a picture of. Now you can take pictures of famous people, and it'll actually identify the famous person. My sister took some pictures. So what I think is really interesting, in the new Samsung phones, inside of the camera app, it will actually ask you when you take a picture, hey, do you want to search with this photo? Do I see that possibly coming in the next version of the software on the iPhone? Of course I do. And in a couple seconds' time, it's actually going to figure out exactly what it is. So it's going to go ahead and it's going to say, okay, well, that's a book. And what's that book? It's identifying. And let that identify while I show you the last thing we're going to talk about today. For some people, the cloud is a scary, scary, scary thing. You hear nothing about people getting hacked with the cloud, and this with the cloud, and that with the cloud, and all these other things with the cloud. So sometimes you want to, there we go, it's found the book. There we go, there's our book. It's actually found it on Amazon for probably less than you paid. Did you buy it on Amazon? No. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to open up the Amazon page then. But one of the really cool things, so it's found that, one of the really cool things is imagine if you could roll your own cloud. This is my cloud right here. This may just look like a standard wireless flash drive, but I promise you it's much more. It's a standard flash drive. I already gave the joke away. Standard flash drive, but I promise you it's much more. This is actually a Wi-Fi flash drive. It will connect to your Windows or your Mac computer. It will also wirelessly connect to your iPhone or your iPad or your Android phone or your Android tablet and give you access to 200 additional gigabytes of storage. So if you don't have an internet connection, you want to back stuff up, you can go in, and I'll give you an example. I'm actually going to play a video file right now, and this video file is not on the internet, it's not on my phone, it's actually coming directly from the flash drive. So it's wirelessly going from the flash drive to my phone, to the TV screen. There's a little bit of delay there, but I can go in and I can move things. I can go ahead and I can move my entire photo library if I wanted to. I can back up my entire camera roll to this if I don't have access to Google Photos or other things like that. And I can put things in all kinds of different folders, such as this one called Sexy Naked Dancing. I guess so.
Is that done through Bluetooth? Or?
It's done through Wi-Fi. Yeah. So what it actually does, to answer your question, is it actually makes its own Wi-Fi network that it's distributing. This little thing is a Wi-Fi router. It's making its own Wi-Fi network called the SanDisk Wireless Flash Drive. I'll show it to you. The SanDisk Connect F27, F9C. I have it hooked up a little weird to show this to you on the screen, but it will go ahead and it will wirelessly connect, and you've got 200 gigabytes of additional storage. But what I love about this is, much like the cloud, this will work with anything, which is what's very, very, very cool. So much like the cloud, this will work with absolutely anything on your device. Now, I want to let you know what's coming up the rest of the cruise. So we talked about the cloud. We're going to talk about apps. We're going to talk about Gmail. We're going to talk about all kinds of other stuff on our days going back. So on our way back, we're going to talk about apps, and then we're going to talk about Gmail on the C days going back. And during some of the evenings coming up where there's not big events, meaning that we're not going out in Reykjavik, so tomorrow night, Akureyri? I can't do it. Tomorrow night, Akureyri, we're going to be talking about smartwatches. So we're going to be talking about smartwatches at about 7:30, 7:45. Check the daily program for the final time. We're going to be talking about smartwatches, and tonight we actually have something at 8 o'clock right outside here. So not in here, but outside of here. At 8 o'clock tonight, we're going to be doing something very, very cool. Now, I've shown you a little bit of Google Photos, and I showed you how I could search flamingos and different things like that, but I want to do a scavenger hunt. So we're going to do a scavenger hunt. You don't have to go anywhere to do the scavenger hunt. The scavenger hunt is directly on your phones and tablets. So I'm going to pick some random things, and I'm going to say, I'm looking for a picture of a light bulb. That isn't one that I chose. So I'm looking for a picture of a light bulb, and if you show me a picture of a light bulb, you get a raffle ticket, which you enter into the raffle, and I got some really cool prizes that are available for that. That's going to be right between dinner and the show at 8 o'clock in the entertainment court, which is the room right outside of here. As I said, on the 2 C-Days back, we'll be there. And if you do have any questions, I will be in the iLounge tomorrow morning from 8 to 11, if you just watch the daily program, and tomorrow afternoon from 4 until class time. It's a C-Day. It's kind of hard to track me down on the C-Day, but on the port days, I'll be there if you got any questions. My name is Richard. This has been What's the Cloud? I hope I answered a little bit of your cloud questions. Bye!